hears the voice of someone she knew, who left when the first frost arrived. There on the screen porch they'd watch through the night. The thunder and rain finally came. There with the rumble and flashes of light, hear that old tin roof sing. There where the garden spider weaves the intricate work of her life. There where the morning dove used to sing that song at the first sign of light. Maybe she'll stay for a couple of days, sort out what's new and what's used, toss out the toothbrushes, pack up the bags. She's really not sure what to do. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. With tears in her eyes, she watched the geese fly and whispered the words goodbye, and whispered the words goodbye. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. She still hears the voice of someone she knew, who left when the first frost arrived. There on the screen porch they'd watch through the night. The thunder and rain finally came. There with the rumble and flashes of light, hear that old tin roof sing. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. She still hears the voice of someone she knew, who left when the first frost arrived. There on the screen porch they'd watch through the night. The thunder and rain finally came. There with the rumble and flashes of light, hear that old tin roof sing. There where the garden spider weaves the intricate work of shall stay for a couple of days, sort out what's new and what's used. Toss out the toothbrushes, pack up the bags. She's really not sure what to do. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. With tears in her eyes, she watched the geese fly and whispered the words goodbye. And whispered the words goodbye. Stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. She still hears the voice of someone she knew, who left when the first frost arrived. There on the screen porch they'd watch through the night. The thunder and rain finally came. There with the rumble and flashes of light, hear that old tin roof sing. She stood where her garden used to be, remembering summers gone by. She still hears the voice of someone she knew, who left when the first frost arrived. There on the screen porch they'd watch through the night. The thunder and rain finally came. There with the rumble and flashes of light, hear that old tin roof sing.
found the problem here. This is actually 347. That's the issue. I was about to do a solo to myself here. I found the problem here. All right. One more time. Here we go. It's supposed to be gather the spirit. What did I say? I was about to do a My mistake. Number 347, gather the spirit. Let's. No, I lied. All right. Hang on. Hang on a second, everybody. We got pandemonium. We're going back to 298. Wake now my senses. We're back. Here we go.
Let's go back to 298. Thank you. Thank you, Andy.
Anna will be back.
Thank you very much. This time, we'd like to ask all the children to come down for a story for all ages.
All right, let's see, how big a crowd do we have here today? Is that it? And you know, this is supposed to be a story for all ages, which means any of you who wanted to come up and want to sit here, that would be fine, as long as you can get down and get back up. Which is why I have this chair with the arms on it. Anyhow, hello, everybody. Hello. Oh, they're saying hello. That's good. Hello. You say a personal hello? Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. All right, good. I was speaking through my nose. Anyhow, look what I have. It says Bath and Body Works, but that's not what it is. It's just because somebody from Bath and Body Works gave me this. But I have something inside here that's going to be the topic of what we talk about today. You heard him talk earlier that it was about the brain and about the subconscious. What does this look like? Ah, it looks like a brain. Are you the only one that knew that? Yeah, probably so. This is a model of the brain. You think it looks like yours? No, maybe so, maybe not. And actually, this one comes apart to show you all the parts inside. See? Yeah. Actually, this was given to me a number of years ago by Mark, the service leader today, because he thought I needed one. So anyhow, let me ask this question of any of you. What is a brain? What does it do? Any ideas? Yes, ma'am. It helps you think. Oh, good thing. Anything else? Yes. It helps you know what to do. All right, good answer. Anybody else? Yeah, anyhow, that's the general idea. Do you know where it is? Where? You think it's right there in your head? You think if you looked inside somebody's ear, you would see it? No, probably not? Oh, okay. What about helping you learn things? Does it help you learn things like when you were in school and you can learn? Like, have you learned something today already? Anybody? And when you were in classes before, right? Did you learn anything there? And what did you learn? All together now? Or not? Okay. Question about the brain and its function. Does your brain ever tell you stories? What kind of stories does it tell you? Like, yeah. Oh, creepy stories. Why would it tell you a creepy story? Okay. Oh, anybody, creepy stories are. What I like to think about what the brain does is it enhances your imagination. What does that mean? What does imagination mean? And can you start out thinking about something and the brain chips in and says, okay, let's imagine that this, what does that mean? Say that again. Oh, you're making about what over the world around you, and you're making up things about it that are probably true, but you just have to make them up. You pull them out of thin air, right? That's a good answer. Here's something that the brain does, and I'm going to talk about this more in the service today. When you see somebody for the first time today, like when you look at somebody else, how do you know who they are? How do you know who they are? What is it that tells you? That puts the words in you that says, that's who this person is. But how can the brain tell? You think there's a lot of stuff stored in the brain that makes you recognize who those people are? The brain is your friend, or you mean the people you see is your friend? Or yes, when you see somebody who's a friend of yours, you know their name. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Wow, that was very profound. So would you say it again so I can? Wow. Okay, I'm going to say this the best I can. Your brain is smart enough to where if it knows you know somebody, it puts together their hair color, what they look like, every part about them, and tells you who they are. That's exactly what happens. How do you know? Here's one more question. See if the brain has any part of that. When you're in class and you're in school and you're in math class and your teacher says, hey, what is 3 plus 4? How do you know that? How do you know that? It's, whether it's adding or subtracting, your brain knows how to do that, and it's the one who tells you what the answer. Okay, well, I think that you're well educated now about what the brain does, how it works with you, and how it works in school. So you may now be dismissed to your classes. Thank you for listening and responding.
Before we dismiss the kids, I'm leading the RE program, so I'll lead us out. But before we do that, I'm going to ask Lorelei Richards to join me up here for a second. Lorelei has been one of our nursery workers for over a year. Over a year. Yeah, at least over a year. So one of our longtime nursery workers. This is Lorelei's last Sunday with us. She graduated in May and is going to be starting a job teaching in Asheville, second grade. Thank you so much, and keep in touch with us, and we wish you well as you head off to Asheville to teach. Thank you. And with that, Andy, if you want to dismiss the kids, they can follow me out.
Thank you, Richard. We've come to a time in our service in which we have an opportunity to share our joys and concerns. Each Sunday, we place 7 candles in the welcome area in the foyer, allowing you a chance to come and share. If you'd like it, your joy or concern shared by the pulpit, please feel free to go ahead and do that. But first, we're going to go ahead and hear opening words from Richard while he's up there.
All right, thank you, Mark. I'm going to be talking a lot about the subconscious, which is what you read earlier and what's been some allusion to here today. But when you hear words about the subconscious, words like frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital, and when you hear words like id, ego, superego, those are psychological concepts. So I'll be talking about today just the subconscious. I'm not going to get too detailed about anything else. So my opening words are from Sigmund Freud. You all know him. Well, not personally, but Sigmund Freud, in a number of his works beginning in 1915, said, "The subconscious mind is the primary source of human behavior." Actually, he called it the unconscious mind, and that's come to mean the same things. And like an iceberg, the most important part of the mind is the subconscious, and it's the part that you cannot see.
Again, if you have a personal joy that you'd like to hear shared from the pulpit, please send it to our administrator by noon on Friday. So if you would, if you've got a candle, please come forward and share.
Mary Martin continues to give to the congregation. As you know, she died prematurely and unexpectedly. Sadly, we'll miss her forever. Her family donated everything in her apartment to the church. So the timing is so perfect because we're having an estate sale around the corner on Wheat Street this week. And we are moving her entire apartment down into that house.
I'm Deb Matherly. This is a candle for Sue Sangy, who had carpal tunnel surgery on Friday, and so she's still recuperating. But thank you. Send her thoughts.
This is a check I know we're doing birthday checks, but Jerry and I have been married for 43 years, and I've known him for 50. So I just wanted to do a check, because this way he'll let me spend some money.
Hi everyone, my name's Elisa. I'm gonna try to keep this as brief as I can, but haven't been here in 2 weeks, and I'm so happy to be back. But this is a candle of concern. I've come up here often to talk about my awesome, lovely Nan, and sadly, 2 weeks ago, she passed away in her sleep. And my family, my mom, me, have been absolutely distraught. And it has been a really hard time for us. The past 5 or so years, we've been taking care of my Nan every single day. And we've spent most of our time in hospital rooms, nursing homes, and we've gotten to know the nurses, we've gotten to know the people, and we've really gotten to know her. And she was a really lovely person. She was really, she just had a lot of love to give. And she was, sometimes she said things that were like, oh, Nan, don't say that. But, she was funny, she was kind, she made us laugh all the time. And it has been really hard these past 2 weeks to just be sitting in the kitchen and be like, oh, we don't have to go to the nursing home today, or oh, we're not going to see her anymore. Picking up her ashes was like really hard. It was like, oh, this is the last time we're picking up Nan. So I just want to thank everybody who's shown me support over this time. And I just, today I woke up and I was just like, I need to see my people. And so thank you for creating a community where I feel loved in.
Good morning, I'm Bud Ashley. I also have a candle of concern. It's for my rescued daughter. She is having some medical issues currently, possibly having PCOS, and they're not really sure yet, but she's been having a lot of troubles with that, and we're concerned about that. So I just wanted to keep her in our heart. Her name is Kaylee Grady.
Good morning. My name is Lee Mingy, and I'm lighting a candle of celebration and connection for the pilgrims who have spent time with our Besterse congregation and have now moved on. But there are some photos that I have, and Yoli has, and Jean Capalbo, and Joan Watterson, and Emilio. So if you would like to connect in almost real time with our Besterse congregation through our pilgrims, see us at coffee hour, and it is a great connection. And I should mention that as part of the service, Zolt officiated at, of course. Kevin played the guitar. So we were represented in sound.
We'd like to light this final candle for all those joys and concerns too deep to share. And if you join me in a moment of silence to contemplate on the joys and concerns that were shared this morning. Thank you. Each week, the UUCC contributes half of its donations, cash donations that are collected during each Sunday, to a nonprofit organization selected by our congregation. This month, the organization is More Justice. If you'd like to go ahead and make a donation, please include the words "Share the Plate" in the memo line. Today, we're fortunate to have its co-president, the Reverend Judith Myers, with us to go ahead and share a few words about the organization.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Judith Myers. I am the pastor of Emmanuel Baptist Fellowship downtown in the Vista area. We are fun Baptists, I promise. I am also about to finish up my first term as co-president of More Justice, which stands for Midlands Organized Response to Equity and Justice. So I want to tell you just a couple of things about it. We're not going to take all morning, I promise. But I do want to mention three things. One of them is kind of our own story into More Justice. I celebrated 9 years with my congregation just a bit ago. And I was about a year and a half in that we as a congregation asked the question, what is justice? What does social justice look like for us? And as we were having this conversation, someone Googled Justice Ministry, Columbia, South Carolina. The very first thing to pop up was morejustice.columbia.org. And so since then, my congregation, EBF, has been active in a really, really cool and fun way. Let me tell you two more things. One is the structure of More Justice. So we have our lead organizer, our executive director. We have a senior organizer who will be back in a couple of weeks. Their name is Sydney Gonzalez, and you'll hear from them in 2 weeks. We also have a communications organizer. And then under that is our board, co-president. And then we have kind of a couple of other groups. And this is when we talk about involvement and your commitment to more justice. We have our clergy and our team leaders. And then we have what's called our big group of network members. And that would be most of you if you so choose. Our network members are folks who show up to the big things, and then also, if able, to offer a little money. Now, the last thing that I want to mention is the cycle. So we use grassroots organizing model at its best, honestly. And our cycle runs much like a school year from August or September to about April or May. And we have kind of a little process. And we start in August with our listening process. And we listen well. We listen to the people. We listen to our stories, the stories of our neighbors, the issues that are going on. We ask the question, what are those things that keep you up at night? We have conversations about transit, about affordable housing. We have conversations about mental health and gun violence. Then we get into the research process. We make a decision. We say, this is the decision of the people to to focus on this one issue. And so we research so much. We have volunteers who come out. We've got officials that we're meeting with. We have other groups in the state and the nation that we're meeting with. We are doing every bit of research we can on the issue that we as a group have voted on. And then we get to what we call the Nehemiah Action, which is the culminating event. And that's where we get our elected officials standing up in front of us, asking them to make declarations, to say yes or no to the questions that we ask about the issues that we've come forward with. In the past, that has been, we would like, so most recently has been affordable housing. A bill just went through a couple of months ago before the session ended, and that was about evictions. If you've seen that in the news, more justice was a big part of the big eviction bill that came out of the state, meaning that after 7 years, evictions are off the record. Before, evictions stayed on your record forever. Forever. And you know what happens when you have an eviction on your record? It makes it almost impossible to find housing. And so More Justice was a part of the group that helped bring that from forever to 7 years, right? The story of Nehemiah in the Old Testament reminds us that there is power in people, that there is power in voices. And friends, we are all invited as people of faith and love and peace and justice to come together, to listen, to research, and to act together. Immediately following this worship, the service this morning, I will be around. So if you have any questions, please let me know. In 2 weeks, like I said, you'll hear from Sydney Gonzalez, who's our senior organizer. And then September 20th, we're going to have our meeting. We call it a house meeting, where everyone who may want to be a network member or who is just interested and wants to hear stories can join us for lunch following the service. And together we'll have those discussions and we'll come to not even an agreement together, but to share stories of the things that we're going through, the things that we're seeing in our community, that we're experiencing. So July 26th, Sydney will be here. And then September 20th, I'm gonna invite my congregation and we're gonna come join you all and together have a house meeting. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much for choosing More Justice as your Share the Plate recipient this month. We are honored and we are blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Myers. And would the ushers please come forward for this morning's collection?
For the offertory, I'd like to play Steve Kuhn's The Saga of Harrison Crab Feathers, which is a ridiculous title. When I first learned this piece, I only had the sheet music, and this is true with a lot of the jazz standards that I play. I had never heard the original recording, so I simply interpreted it based upon what my mind felt it should sound like, letting intuition take over instead. And so the result was a moody, ethereal version that's very uniquely tied to the subconscious translation.
Thank you very much. Always serves as a wonderful way to demonstrate the generosity and the love that this congregation has for the good work. This time, I'd like to go ahead and welcome Richard back to the mic. Do want to go just some quick backstory. Richard, as you know, has been key musician. In one service, he played and sang the song from The Wizard of Oz, If I Only Had a Brain. So it only made sense that the following week, when I saw him, I made sure that I provided him one. So here's Richard McLeod.
Oh, sometimes people try to tell you something, and that kind of stated, here, have a brain, you need this. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's... Oh, thank you, you did it, just in time. Superman, but in this case, it's superconscious or subconscious in the case of this now exciting introduction. I hope that did wake you up and keep you awake. Your brain has a mind of its own. It's called a lot of things, but today it's going to be called the subconscious. It's a complex control center that is the seat of your consciousness, where thoughts, emotions, and memories are formed, and you think and gather those thoughts and those emotions to be translated into speech and action. The subconscious is responsible for your senses: sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch. It is not in a single physical location, but rather is a conceptual term for the network of non-conscious processes running inside your immediate awareness. It manages automatic bodily functions and long-term memory, relying heavily on a network of brain structures that operate in the background. It is my personal, though non-scientific, belief that all the memories that you have ever made, including all 5 senses, are stored somewhere in your brain, specifically in the subconscious brain. Think of something that you do routine every day, something automatic, something that you don't have to think about. Think about a talent, a practice, a routine, something you do every day without seemingly thinking about it. Let me give you my personal example that's made me think there must be a higher power within me, other than my sentient brain that's supposed to be doing all my thinking. I'm a piano player, right? I watch myself play the piano, which I play pretty well, if I do say so myself, and I watch my fingers hit the right notes at the right time, and seemingly not even thinking about it. And I said to myself, wow, that's amazing. Wonder who's doing that. Is that right, Andy? Because I certainly don't believe that I could think that fast to instruct those 10 little fingers where to go, how long to stay there, what to do with my foot on the damper pedal, and where to go next. I am absolutely amazed to watch that happen. Wow, look at that. That's something. Who does that? As you think and act with your conscious mind, all that sinks down into your subconscious mind, which creates its own memories and patterns according to the nature of your thoughts and actions. The French philosopher René Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. Buddha once said, you think and you become. The subconscious mind is more powerful than you can ever imagine. Here are a few personal stories about what the subconscious mind does. My wife recently quit drinking coffee. Raise your hand, dear Sue.
I love that you pointed.
And anyhow, she quit drinking coffee. No particular reason. A year ago, she quit drinking her favorite white wine. No particular reason that she could explain. Several years ago, I quit drinking beer. Maybe the subconscious mind knew that it wasn't good enough for me to be worth risking whatever downside there might be, which I never thought there was before. Is our subconscious coming up with the reason for these radical actions and prompting us to create a change in lifestyle? Here's something you can identify with. Ever smell bacon burning when there's no bacon burning within 100 miles? I see shaking hands, yeah. Ever smell cigarette smoke when there's nobody smoking? Here's something that was really powerful to me and to Linda. We were living in Northeast Columbia and our house burned down. This is 2019, 7-8 years ago. Snap, crackle, and pop, and it was gone. This congregation was very supportive of us at that time. Anyhow, and even though we moved miles away, the smell of smell of smoke and charred ashes was real for probably a year after that, distinct and powerful enough to be real. In this case, perhaps my subconscious, in its constant ruminations, remembered that as a tragic experience that it did not want to live and relive. Like the hidden part of an iceberg, the subconscious is constantly influencing behaviors behind the scenes. It is highly receptive to pattern formation, which can either foster positive, efficient habits or create limiting, negative, and automatic patterns and reactions. The subconscious observes, interprets, and applies what it senses to your emotions and actions. You ever cried during a Hallmark commercial? I do. Ask Linda. I even tear up at times when I don't know why. And I say, where the heck did that come from? Or maybe you don't cry. Maybe you get angry for a reason that only your subconscious knows. It's like, why in the world did I get angry over that? Shaking hands, Alyssa. Shaking heads. You know what I'm talking about. You are being continuously monitored. The subconscious operates while you sleep, managing involuntary body functions such as digestion and breathing. And it maintains your awareness of your positions while you're sleeping and telling you when it's time to turn over. It acts as a vast permanent archive holding on to every experience and memory you have ever had, even those you cannot consciously recall. Does it ever happen to you that those memories suddenly pop out? Things you haven't thought of since then? Have you ever done something remarkably creative and thought, wow, where did that come? That's great. Sometimes the subconscious keeps up with things you had forgotten to do or to know. For example, your subconscious helps you recognize when your spouse is mad at you. Anybody? It tells you where you itch and when to scratch it. Your subconscious catalogs your obsessions, your fear of germs or spiders or snakes. Even your fairly harmless obsessions, like your need to straighten the pictures on the wall, or your desire to make sure the labels are all faced out in the refrigerator. Laugh, you do that, right? And here's something that I'm sure you have all dwelled on. Where do dreams come from? Well, we think that dreams are widely considered a manifestation of subconscious thoughts, emotions, and bits of memories processed during sleep, often but not always reflecting hidden desires and fears. Mark has just gotten the flavor of candles burning down too low that may catch us on fire here. It's his subconscious that told him that. And here's a real biggie. And this is something that I credit to the subconscious. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Yeah. Oh, good. This is probably job one of the subconscious mind. Rapidly, even subliminally, and before conscious awareness, facial features like eyes, nose, mouth, and hair, even a mole on the chin, quickly gives you a name, an evaluation of the expression, and even an opinion of that person that's in front of you. Facial recognition. And you may even get a sense of something that I think is an extension of that. Wow, what a handsome man. Or wow, what a beautiful woman. So what algorithm does the subconscious come up with that makes those descriptions? Beauty is different to different people, right? So what is your subconscious doing? What is it saying to you about why this person is beautiful? Or, oh, wow, he looks smart. Or, wow, he looks dull. Or, it's your subconscious putting a lot of things together that you really wouldn't think are there. The human brain is the most complex and least understood object in the known universe. It has more neural connections than there are stars in the galaxy as far as we can figure. It is not just a biological organ, it is a door that opens our understanding and connection to the natural world of which we are a part. The Christian Bible's King David was talking to his God when he offered this description in Psalm 139. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works. In my more agnostic side of any discourse that I share or think about, I say that I am more spiritual than religious. Let's talk about how the subconscious brain fits into that, being more spiritual than religious. Could it be that the connection between spirituality and the brain could explain why some people feel more connected to nature than they do to traditional religious practices? A song we often sing from our gray hymnal is number 123, Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Now there's a conversation we can say for another time about how people of faith and even psychologists regard this spiritual connection as the soul or the spirit. Spirituality, by my thinking, and probably many Unitarians, does not inherently require belief in a traditional God, but focuses instead on something above and beyond yourself, like energy, consciousness, or reaching for an understanding of, for example, such constructs as time and space. Maybe spirituality is something we do not completely understand, but we know it's there. While Linda and I were watching the Artemis II splashdown back in April, I heard a news commentator say, in quote to one of the astronauts, they said that the astronaut said that the mission that they had just completed was a display of people doing something that is bigger than themselves. Now, friends, colleagues, fellow travelers who have the spirit of life, bear with me a moment. We often think of spirituality as something out there, a grand cosmic force hidden among the stars, or the fundamentalism of ancient traditions. What if it's all those things that are processed in the deepest, silent, and most unobserved corners of your own mind? Can we make a case here for calling this our spiritual center? Is our spirituality fundamentally the story your subconscious tells you about your connection with the universe, your connection with the laws of nature, and your connection with whatever creation of the God that you personally believe in? Your spirituality, rather than being a static thing, is the living, evolving product of your inner life and, of course, of your inherited traits. It is the quiet knowing that something greater and not understandable is rumbling around inside you. It is your subjective experience that creates your personal sacredness and the deepest principles and values by which you live. Most in the UU world agree that spirituality is a way of experiencing the subjective dimensions of life without relying on religious dogma or supernatural beliefs. The suggestion is that human beings can find profound purpose and moral guidance through reason, compassion, and connection to the natural world, and in connection with each other. It requires constant refreshing. It is not a destination. It is the result of interfacing between your conscious awareness and the autopilot of your subconscious world within you. I'm not sure whether Carl Jung or Sigmund Freud said this, since they often quoted one another, speaking of the subconscious. The habits you can't break, the fears that hold you back, the lucky breaks you get, these are rarely accidents. They are the pre-programmed commands of your subconscious, a servant that never sleeps. Your spiritual path is unique to you based on your personal values that you have inherited or adopted. It is based on to what extent you are the environmental caretaker of the planet. Your spiritual path is based on pursuing moments of amazing wonder in ordinary life, things like in art and science. The beauty of nature, like sunrises and sunsets, and the beauty of birth. A spiritual path that you can be proud of includes a principled moral compass based on compassion, empathy, and fairness, and of course, UU's own principles and values. Live long and prosper. Go in love. Thank you, Chuck. Go in peace. And may your own God bless and keep you. Amen.
Okay, I think I got it this time. Please join me in hymn number 347, Gather the Spirit. This was written by Jim Scott. This hymn focuses on harvesting the collective power of community, compassion, and the mystery of life. It is often used to symbolize bringing our separate spiritual sparks together into a single flame. Please rise as you are willing and able. Number 347. There's only 3 verses, too.
Just want to make sure you have the fire out there.
I think one of the calls to action is longer candles.
I think it's done. My closing words. Hang on a minute. Here are some paraphrased words and thoughts from Carl Sagan's book, The Pale Blue Dot. Sagan was perhaps the greatest champion of finding spiritual depth in the realities of science and nature. His most famous conclusion emphasizes our responsibility to see one another in a vast, indifferent universe. I think he was talking about the emotions generated by the subconscious mind when he said, science is not only compatible with spirituality, it is a profound source of spirituality. When we recognize ourselves in the immensity of light years and the passage of ages, when we grasp the intricacy, the beauty, and the subtlety of life, then that soaring feeling, that sense of elation and humility combined, is purely spiritual.
As we once again extinguish our chalice, let us leave as advocates for the importance of reason, compassion, connection, and wonder. Please join us in the singing of our congregational benediction. Thank you very much. If you would, please be seated as we share a few announcements. That concludes the service. We want to go ahead and make sure we thank Dr. McLeod as well as Dr. Wells for their great contribution to today's service. We do have a few quick announcements. Again, we want to remind you that the annual Palenciaga, I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I've got this. Palenciaga. You got that? Repeat after me. Palenciaga. That's a fashion and dog show that we're going to be using as a fundraiser on October 10th with a rain date of October 17th. It's going to be held here at the UUCC, and Blake Carlton is looking for a few folks who might be interested in serving as models. He will provide the canines. We won't want you to go ahead and provide your talents as a model. If you're interested, please check with Blake or send him an email to blake.carlton@gmail.com. The deadline to submit information is only in 3 days, so please act quickly. Please note, personal dogs are not included because we're using some of the dogs from the sheltered center for this. Also want to go ahead and remind everybody that the ladies' lunch, that's LUUNCH, is Thursday, July 16th for the Shin Buddhist celebration Obon. They'll have a short service followed by traditional summer potluck. Please see either Melody or Joan for more details about that event. I want to also remind you that today is the last day to sign up for Circle Supper. We've got about 11% of our members that have signed up. They're going to be in 3 or 4 different groups that will come together and meet from August until November. We also want to remind you again, Jim briefly mentioned it, but again, they need volunteers for the estate sale that's going to be taking place every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 2538 Wheat Street. This is revenue for the UUCC, and please see Jim, I saw him, after the service or in the social hall for more information, or even better than just getting information, signing up. We also have another announcement. The Midlands Defense is conducting regular outreach as operating the hotline, and they are convening an open get-together this week with questions and answers for people who might be interested in volunteering. Please see Deb Matherly after the service for details about helping with the Midlands Defense. Being no further announcements, this concludes the service. And again, of all the places you could have been, thank you for being with us. Please join us next week when we'll have Jessica Cross joining us with Melody serving as our service leader. Have a great afternoon.